proudest day, and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Krunching Gears, the Rally Podcast, episode 34. In this episode, we will review Rally New Zealand and Deja Vu West, and then we'll also look forward to the Harvest Rally this weekend in Donegal. So without further ado, just I suppose, as always, like, share, comment, rate, all those things make a huge difference. And like the response to last week was phenomenal. I can't think of a better way of describing it. Thanks for everybody for your comments, your kind messages. Still in disbelief ourselves here, I think, from speaking to the Nagle clan. It was an absolute pleasure. And Connor Edwards, welcome, join me once again. Connor, you're very welcome along, as always.
Kevin, thank you very much. And what a week. 22-year-old crowned world rally champion. Wow.
It is. It's it is surreal, isn't it? Really, 22. You're still every day you're out in the car. It was still a learning experience. You definitely weren't ready to take on the world. I'm sure. I know I wasn't.
No, exactly. People weren't even getting work strives at 22. Seriously.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, just unbelievable. Like, we all saw the social media posts and the videos of this kid as a kid. Kelly. At no age behind the wheel of a car. Talk about being groomed to be world champion, and wow, this is unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still, because he's been about a few years, it's still to even think he's still only 22. It's unbelievable. Like, we forget how young he was. Whenever he come about at the start, and I seen Tommy Mackinnon revealed there this week that he tested the car. The 2017 spec. Car, he was only 15 or 16 at the time. Like, that's mind-blowing, really, isn't it?
It is. And it shows you what they saw in him then at that point. He must have just been oozing talent.
Yeah.
But like, to let a 15-year-old loose in a works car prototype, like, just incredible.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And like, he had bad rallies in his formative career, but he wasn't like a serial crasher. And really, he every opportunity he took, he grabbed it. He produced. He got good results. Yes, he had a few incidents along the way, but like, who didn't? It's been a steady, strong curve the whole way along. And to do this so young, it's unprecedented, I think.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. Like, the learning curve was there, but when you go back and you look at stage times and who he was beating or just hanging on to the coattails of, putting in incredible speeds, incredible driving ability for, somebody so inexperienced and hadn't or didn't have the opportunity to build up their racecraft by, competing in various championships. Like, this, it's been incredible. And I'm a bit surprised, I'll have to admit, that OJ, was as magnanimous as he was. For all intents and purposes, a fantastic champion he has been. I was convinced OJ was going to New Zealand because it was one of those tick boxes that he wanted to say, yep, I can add New Zealand to my tally. And I was amazed to see him, what do you call it, support Kelly.
Yeah,
so much, or to that extent.
Yeah, and what a lovely gesture on the ramp to hand over his helmet. He had done a special livery on his helmet to go to New Zealand. Such a it shows the mark of a man that was so clear-headed, that thought this would be an ideal opportunity to present that. And like, it was like a lovely helmet. There was gold through it and everything else. To hand that over to Kelly, I think that's a touch of class.
Absolutely. It was a fantastic gesture, genuinely was. And even, to hear him being interviewed on Sunday morning before they set out in the final 4 loop of stages, like, OJ, just the support, he was just everything that you would have wanted him to be and more.
Yeah.
And just, he's not just there to get the manufacturer's points. He really genuinely wanted Rowan Parra to lift that title.
Yeah, and like that spread right across, like, out Tannic before it got interviewed, before going into the last stage as well. And like the words of encouragement he had for Kelly going into that last stage. Like, I don't know how, when the last time there was such a popular winner of the championship, right across the board. I think everybody sees this as so positive for the sport, as well as, this young fella getting the crown is fantastic. But, I think it's going to bring a new generation of fan to the sport as well.
Absolutely. And even looking at social media, Finnish social media, they're talking about the resurgence there's been over the last couple of years. And even Rally Finland this year had a lot more spectators attending. And again, it was that Rowan Parra factor.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that Finland was so close and now has done it. I can only imagine next year the forests of Finland will be rammed with spectators.
For sure. And like, in the middle of all this too, what did this mean to New Zealand to have, the rally back too? Like, it's been an absence there of whatever 10 years, I think it is. So to finally get the world's best on their stages, like, that's brilliant for them as well.
I know, fantastic for them, and to be able to crown the world champion there and then as well, that it wasn't, kept to the end of the season or anything like that. Yeah. It was fantastic. The only thing I felt sorry for the organisers, the rain. It lashed rain, like just non-stop practically for the whole weekend. It's just so unfortunate that we didn't get to see New Zealand in its finest, but it was a fantastic event. I followed a good part of it anyway on WRC Plus, and really enjoyed watching it. Phenomenal stages, and again, that power stage for I normally I'm not one that likes a purpose-built power stage or super special. I really don't like them. Wow, that was a cracker of a stage.
So I think, without further ado, we'll catch up with Blair Bartels from New Zealand. He's one of the guys, sort of like, he would be their media guy over there. And like, it's a fascinating story he has to tell, how, this event come about, describes the stages and goes into some detail about that power stage, So I started asking him how good, was it to have Rally New Zealand back on the calendar?
Immensely satisfying. I work reasonably closely with the team that pulled it all together, and 2020 was, there was so much hope, and finally we'd cracked it, we got the thing back, and then to have, obviously, COVID, and it sort of seems a little bit selfish to be upset about rallying when all that other crap was going on in the world, but to get it back for 2022, I think it's just 10 long years. It was just amazing to finally welcome the world's best back to, what we're really reinforced onto the world's best roads.
Yeah, absolutely. And the crowds turned out, after that, you mentioned the COVID, after 2 years of, turmoil, I suppose, the crowds that turned out to see the guys, it was spectacular.
It really was. Going into, we were lucky enough to get out for one quick little watch at Whanga Coast. There's quite a famous spectator spot there. The amount of people there was mesmerising. Unfortunately, the weather didn't help. There was meant to be 60 helicopters floating around following the event. It was going to be like Vietnam, but that probably put paid to a little bit of that. But it didn't stop the people getting out. It was incredible, and particularly Saturday. I was awfully brave on Saturday and stayed home because I live about 10 minutes from the service park and watched on All Live. And watching that, the amount of people that were still out there watching, the conditions on Saturday were horrendous. The weather is very rarely like that in Auckland and around this area. We get rain, but it was torrential, and it was crap. But the amount of people that were out there was phenomenal. It really was. And what was great was everyone was coming back in and going, the weather was crap, but it was amazing. It was great to get out there and be amongst it. And we fell over in the mud and got stuck. And it was great fun. Everyone was just so enthusiastic, so excited about this event being back that a bit of rain didn't stop them.
Yeah. And like, personally, from your own point of view, like, you're a rally head, you've lived, breathed rallying for all your days. How good was it to see, Toyota, Hyundai, M Sport, all these teams roll up in your local town?
Yeah, absolutely magic. As I said, you know, something that that we've worked on for a long, long time now. Like my boss in my real job was the man, Peter Johnston. He was the man who really led the charge. So, you know, I've worked reasonably closely with him on that, and you know, fantastic. I guess for him to be able to deliver that too. You know, we've got so many passionate people down here, Kevin, that really put so much into making this happen. You know, and to welcome those teams. I think it was sort of the Friday they started packing up, week before packing in, and yeah, there's this real sense of almost relief. It was like there's still a lot of work to do because we're a week out, but they're here. You know, nothing's going to take them away now. The drivers are here, the teams are here, all their stuff's here. So yeah, that was one of those moments that was really you know, a relief as much as anything.
Yeah. And then, you know, to finally see them on the stage, it's like I haven't been lucky enough yet to see them on stage, the new cars, but they look amazing. And as you say, the world's best roads, what a combination.
By God, they're quick. And we're commentating on the opening super special stage, which was just a tarmac blast around the sort of main park in central Auckland, the Domain. It's just that, you know, with the hybrid, the way they take off, you know, anyone that thinks that, oh, you know, they're going to ruin the sound of rallying and you know, they're going to be just like a Toyota Prius that you're getting at 2:00 in the morning when you're coming home from the pub. So wrong. Those cars are just phenomenal. You know, the power. And like we go to our national championship. So my regular involvement is I'm coordinator of the New Zealand Rally Championship. And we'll be doing live streaming and all sorts of things like that. And we've got some seriously impressive guys over here, you know, Hayden Padden, but also a lot of guys that chase him hard. And you stand on the side of the road and you watch them and you go, wow, that's impressive. And then you watch them after you've watched these World Rally cars come through now. And it's like, oh, that's a bit, yeah. It's a whole nother level, but you're talking damn near twice the horsepower between a Rally 2 car and the World Rally car. So they're seriously special bits of kit.
Yeah. And then, you know, them guys driving those Rally ones, they are the best of the best. Like, you know, they are the top notch.
Absolutely. So, you know, to go fast in New Zealand, it's a bit like the tarmac roads in Ireland, isn't it? You've got to be super committed. You know, every time you're lifting off, you've got to carry that speed through the cambers. And those guys, they make it look so easy. Apart from, there's a couple that didn't, rather spectacularly. But yeah, you know, the guys, they just, it's so impressive to watch, and the way the cars settle into those cambers and float over the top of them is just really majestic thing to watch.
Yeah. And I think that's probably, you know, you've already answered the next question. Like, does New Zealand deserve a place in the calendar going forward?
Maybe a little bit biased on that. and look, talking to a few guys on Sunday night, they want to come back. Obviously, at the moment, global freight's an absolute nightmare, and the cost to come down is huge. You know, it's probably, you know, 250,000 pounds for those big works teams with all the stuff that they need to freight down here. So that's a significant chunk of coin, you know, and sadly at the moment there's not really a way around that. But by the same token, it's also a world championship, and yeah, I think what we can offer the championship here in New Zealand is something very unique, something very spectacular. Again, I might be a little bit biased, but I think our scenery's pretty stunning, and our roads are world class. And at the end of the day, I think every rally fan just wants to see rally cars being driven hard, you know, not dodging rocks and you know, bouncing through. You know, like, we had so much rain, the road surface was still so good. I was lucky enough, I did a little bit of work with the SAS guys while they were out here, and we went and checked the roads the week before when it hadn't rained, and I've never seen the roads in such good condition. They were immaculate, so hard packed. You know, no corrugations, no big rocks, none of that, you know. And so they stood up really, really well during the rally. And that's, yeah, I think it's what you want to see is guys being able to just get in those cars and absolutely drive the wheels off them. And that's certainly what we saw.
Yeah, and like you saying about how bad the weather was, can you imagine how spectacular that would have been if had been good weather, and the New Zealand scenery that would have been showed off around the world. What that will do for tourism in your country can't be bought either.
Do you want to call our government? That'd be great. Yeah, absolutely. But I do wonder too. The wet weather. I think it certainly helped. That first proper day was a massive day. Close to 160 k's of special stages, and I think the rain on the first day certainly minimised the cleaning effect, and so we probably got a better sporting spectacle for it, and hey, it was pretty special too to crown the youngest ever world rally champion on our turf here in New Zealand.
Yeah, like that's a record that's going to be around for a long number of years of ever going to be beaten. That is going to be, whenever they think of Kelly Rovanpera becoming a world champion, it's going to be in New Zealand, and nobody can take that away from your guys now. Yeah,
absolutely. I was really, really privileged to be on the PA system at Jack's Ridge, which is that's a whole nother story in itself, Jack's Ridge, but that's just an amazing facility. To have the chance to call someone winning a world championship is something personally I think it's pretty special. It's certainly something I'm not gonna forget in a hurry.
No. Like that is something that you will take with you forever. Like, and as you say, that Jack Ridge stage, what we talk about spectator stages, we think of around a town or around a country park or whatever. You guys took it to the limit.
Well, I wouldn't say there's only Andrew Hawkswood just had this vision. Andrew, for those that don't know him, he's been the wild man of New Zealand rallying for 25 years. He's the kind of guy that everyone waits and then takes two steps back and watches, and he's always, the road's only defined by the two nearest solid objects. And Andrew loves to put on a show, and he's one of the most generous guys going around too. He spent a lot of time and a lot of effort, a lot of resource developing the AP4 cars that we have down here, and they've been a huge success story to the point where we're consistently seeing 10, 11, 12 manufacturers in our top class in the national championship over here, the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship. We've got a really, really strong national championship, and a lot of that is down to the work that Andrew and a few others have put in to develop those AP4s. So then once he'd finished that project, he got a bit bored and decided to build something on his farm. And being a rally driver, he knew what he wanted as a driver, but he also was someone that would always put on a show for the fans. So he combined all of that. And when it was first talked about in 2020, people go, "Oh, it's just another super special." I said to them, "No.
What do you see?
This is a proper bit of road with proper consequences on it. This is basically condense New Zealand rallying into 6 kilometres, and that's what you've got. And to have a county road that's solid and built up and hold up that well was one thing, but to have a man-made road effectively, he built it. He wanted to bring the world to his backyard, and the facility held up exceptionally well. There was 13,000 people on site, and they went home with muddy shoes, but everyone just had a great time.
You can imagine the smiles they went home with as well. Never mind the muddy shoes, So.
Yeah, exactly. I think Craig Breen was a little bit not quite sure about that stage after Ricky, and it's man-made, and it's a fairly active site too. So sometimes you drive through it and you go, "Wow, you're building a road through there." But I saw his comments. He says, "I don't know who Jack is, but his property's gone up a few pounds now, and so he got introduced to Jack on Sunday night." But so he now knows who Jack is.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
And then, you talked about the homegrown talent there earlier on, and like Hayden Patton, we all know how good Hayden is. Like, if the weekend didn't showcase him once again to the works teams, I don't know what the guy can do.
I absolutely agree. You know, 6th overall. I think the expectation was there, and he was quite open about it, that he was sort of on a hiding to nothing. If he won WRC2, whatever, you were always going to do that, and if you didn't, then what were you doing wrong? But I think 6th overall, you know, that was beyond anyone's wildest dreams. I think to genuinely outpace, Lorenzo Battelli in his first WRC event for the year in one of those cars. But again, you're talking twice the horsepower, you're talking better suspension, all that stuff that goes with them. So, yeah, full credit to him. Hey, who knows what goes on behind closed doors and all those things that you know, make the merry-go-round go round. But I don't know. Mr. Tanak doesn't look overly happy in that camp at the moment. So who knows what's going to happen? But certainly, I think the whole New Zealand rallying community and it seems people around the world too would love to see him have the opportunity. Unfortunately, this year Hyundai literally didn't have a car to put him in for this event, and that would have been something really, really special to see him in a world car here in New Zealand. But we know we're not on the calendar in 2023, but with any luck, all the pieces of the puzzle may align in 2024. Who knows?
Yeah, we can but hope. And as well as Hayden, you know, there was quite a number of other homegrown talent there at the weekend. You know, what did they make of the whole WRC Razzmatazz?
Yeah, it was. I think they were all mind blowing. You know, I think we were really, really proud. We had 13 cars of our NZRC competitors into that international rally. So 7 in WRC2, and then another 6 of our AP4 cars in the national regional class. And not one of them got a fine from the FIA, so we were all pretty proud of that. You got to watch all their rules and stuff, and that over here we're reasonably sympathetic, and you're sort of someone makes a silly mistake and say, look, if you do that again, you're going to get in the crap. But, the FIA don't do that. They just go, right, €1,000.
It's black and white. Yeah, there's no.
Yeah, exactly right. So we're all pretty proud of those guys for just surviving without having their wallets lightened too much. I think Shane Van Gisbergen, who's a circuit racing star down here that's decided he wants to go rallying and loves his rallying, man, you just run out of superlatives for the guy. Every time you think, we've seen the best out of him, and I don't think he'll take another step, he just takes another 2. To be 3rd in WRC2 and without a puncture, he was right on Kaito.
Yeah.
So, Ben Hunt, who's a 2-time national champion down here, he probably didn't have the best of runs. Struggled with a few things with the car and then stuck it off, which is very unlike Ben. And Rana Horan, who's normally very, very quick, he blew a turbo on the first stage, which was very frustrating well within life. Lots of guys put up some really, really good performances. I think they all seem to enjoy it, and they should all be very, very proud of themselves for how they represented themselves and our sport on the world stage.
Yeah, well, Blair, as I say, I was blown away by the sights of New Zealand at the weekend, and I can only imagine people around the world will have, once again seen how good, and how special New Zealand is, and hopefully they'll be back in the calendar in 2024. Yeah,
fingers crossed. A lot of work to do, but I think we're up for the challenge.
An absolute pleasure there to speak to Blair. He is a mind of information. So, Blair, thank you very much again for taking the time. Also, I suppose in New Zealand, Hyundai had their struggles at the weekend. Tanak was, thereabouts. Neville seemed ill at ease. So did Silberg. There's still just something not just quite right with the car yet, Connor.
Yeah, it's every event we see a bit of an improvement. Okay, I mean reliability, but they still are struggling, still are having their issues. And again, Tanak was having to fight that car. Nagle was fighting with the car as well to get there. And fair play to Solberg. It's probably one of his best drives, in fairness, this year.
Yep, for sure. And then the M Sport, what can we say about, Craig Regan that hasn't already been said? Like, I don't know what the guy needs to do to change his luck. I don't know whether he's walked down below a ladder or walked over a black cat or what he's done at this stage. But when he was on the road, the pace is there. Like, I think was it 4 or 5 fastest times over the weekend. Has to be commended. And Gus Greensmith getting a fastest time on gravel too. That's fantastic. And the pace is coming there as well too. So there has to be positives taken from it as well.
There has to be positive, but it's not just Breen is suffering the bad luck. It's that whole team.
Yeah.
Like, God love them. They really are going through the ringer. And, every time there's an accident, that's a huge bill coming back. That's putting even more of a question mark over the next event and then the next event for that team.
Yeah, Greensmith unable to restart. So there's and there seemed to be some kind of question over whether he would make the start in Spain now as well too. So it is worrying times for him for sure, isn't it?
Absolutely. In fairness, it was great to see Bertelli bring the car home. And a 7th place finish as well.
Yeah.
Like, the cars are reliable. They seem pretty tough, pretty strong and stuff, but it's just the misfortune they're having. And then, the expense of getting to New Zealand from New Zealand, and then they go back to Spain, and then it's back to Japan again. Like, for a team that's having to watch every penny or every cent, it's a tough year on them.
For sure. And then Toyota, they got the 1-2 with Kelly and OJ, but Evans, his bad luck continues as well, So and Taka as well went off as well.
Yeah, I suppose that's Taka and Aaron Johnson's first non-finish DNF for the year. So, like, they've been on, they finished in top 6, top 7 every single event up bar New Zealand. They've been doing fantastically, and again, looked a fairly simple off that they had. It was a fairly soft roll off the road, and stuck. And you mentioned Evans, it just is not his year, really isn't. And I think we all thought, having watched last year and how close he came to, battling it out with OJ for that title, we thought, it's probably
champion elect almost,
almost. And God, it just hasn't gone his way.
That's for sure. That is for sure. And then, from a completely different point of view, then Rally 2 was Hayden Paddon. Like, if that guy hasn't, if somebody's not ringing him over this, the next few weeks, offer him at least a part-time drive next year, I don't know. I don't know what more he can do.
Kevin, they should have been ringing him before New Zealand. Never mind afterwards. Like to take Rally 2 car home in 6th place. Kept it clean, phenomenal driver. The amount of pressure on his shoulders, because that man has generated so much interest and publicity around himself, around New Zealand, about all the projects that he's working on. So all the eyes were on him.
Yeah.
And, he didn't put a foot wrong that whole event.
Yeah. And he was on a hiding to nothing. If he went out and got beat in Rally 2, it was going to look silly. If he just took a straightforward one, it was going to be, well, that was expected of you. But the way he done it, it was so clean, so professional. Delighted to see it.
Yeah, no, genuinely, I was chuffed for him, absolutely chuffed for him, and he's the nicest guy. We've spoken to him on a couple of occasions. He's absolutely lovely, but it's just heartbreaking too that he's not sitting in a Rally 1 car, because he genuinely deserves.
And just on a wee side note of that, I just seen the clip today. He'd done the super special in the EV car, and like he had he fluffed one of the donuts around like a comb kind of thing. And it was only 2 seconds off Tanik's pace.
Yeah,
like, for a inverted commas home built car, that is phenomenal pace, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, it's incredible. That car, it's fantastic to watch that super special. And again, that's all home built. His team have basically put that car together, and it's phenomenal what it's capable of doing.
That is for sure. And then closer to home, then we had Deja Vu West. Yeah, it's a car show with a drive round, but with a difference, isn't it? Like I don't know how we could describe it. Like, I was chatting to Andy Walsh earlier on today, and like, if you describe it to somebody, how do you describe it? Like, it's far better than the sum of its parts. It's old drivers, old cars, new drivers, new cars, all mixed together for a drive around the countryside. It doesn't sound right, but it is so much better than all that put together.
It's like a memory tour or a living museum or something, on wheels. Or it's incredible. I unfortunately wasn't there, but I got and was looking at as many video clips and pictures as I could find over the weekend, and it just looked fabulous, and just brought back memories when you saw the cars and the liveries and some of the drivers
and the roads. Like, some of those stages are names that are like strike fear into some of the drivers too. So and then to see Os McHale reeling in the years there, the two boys out. Donegal Kelly, like having 4 cars down for the weekend, Mark Higgins back over, just goes on and on. Like Adam Hall, who's been on this podcast now on numerous occasions, getting the chance to sit in with Jimmy McRae, and an escort Cosworth, boyhood dreams there, phenomenal.
Look, it was incredible, and the weather played ball as well. Like there's some fabulous, gorgeous shots of scenery and rally cars, and
big moody skies. There was a few
Yeah.
downpours throughout the day, but the moody skies at this time of the year, I think, really add to some cracking photographs.
Yeah, and like normally I wouldn't be a fan of rally cars on road sections,
Yeah.
but make an exception for the Deja Vus because they really are. It just opens up the memories, and you just think back to days of spectating, standing by the side of the road, the early circuits and the Ulsters and the other and what do you call it, Cork and stuff. Just fabulous.
And then a 2017 Fiesta just ambling by randomly, so where else would you get it, So
Exactly.
Yeah, Killian Duffy done the event too. So we'll jump over and get Killian's thoughts on how the weekend went.
Thanks, Kevin. It's great to be on the podcast. Something as I was saying before we went on air, that I really enjoy listening to. It covers journeys from me up and down to Dublin. So, fair play to keep up the great work.
No bother at all. Thank you. So, Killian, we thought there's a few things that we wanted to chat to you about. But first of all, the weekend, Deja Vu rolled into your home county. A great spectacle.
Oh, it was a great spectacle. It started off in the Port West factory on Saturday morning. And it was just brilliant. Like the lineup of machinery was just incredible. Like nostalgia from my childhood, right? BMW M3s. Cullingham's had the white BM there in the Extravision colours, and that was probably my favourite colour scheme. I preferred it to the black M3. Of course, it was for Austin McHale and the West connection and that. But what a magic event! It was real sociable as well. I've never done a Deja Vu. I've heard about them, how there's a bit of driving, a bit of chatting, and yeah, it's a great social outing. But the lineup of machinery was just immense. Like you had everything, even from rally cars to road cars, and all the people that brought the cars, they have to be commended the way all the cars were turned out. And Donna Kelly there bringing the Auger's Fiesta, like you just have to admire Donna. Like not alone had he that car there. He had the Legacy there. He had the Seat there. I think he had another car there.
The Almira there. Mark Higgins.
Almira there. Who would do that? Like he has a museum of cars, and he just it's not about him enjoying them. It's about everyone enjoying it. Like I think that's a great admiration for Donna Kelly and what he does. And like the museum is for people to go up and look, but they're not just sitting in a museum. And a lot of collectors just leave them in museums because they don't want to put mileage on them. They don't want to. He doesn't care.
No,
like
doesn't
everyone
mind getting them dirty.
Like. It was just like to drive in. I remember going to the Isle of Man looking at them in Formula 2 Ibiza when I was spectating, to be running behind one, just driving around, the bangs of it. It was just, and then I looked in the rear view mirror and Declan McBrearty's driving his Legacy, the ex-Colin McRae Legacy in the Rotman's car. It was just class. It was really class. The stages were tough. Obviously, you went out Partry Mountain, which you could use it again. I'd say it wouldn't be out of, it was used a number of years ago in Mayo in the opposite direction, although a different format of it. Then you went across Tormakeedy and Loch Nafooey stage, and even see the classic hairpin that we remember, I suppose, Seamus Coonan's picture, I think, of Eamon Boland particularly, or even Austin. I think Eamon's going up the way and Austin's coming down the way in the Salika. But just to drive them roads, like that Loch Nafooey stage is very, very fast. Like I don't know if I ever drove it in its entirety before. It was just magic, even to see the people along the route taking pictures. And then we stopped for lunch then in Roundstone. There was a start ramp or a ramp then in Clifton. There was a good crowd around there. And it was back to Westport then. It finished up in the Keys. But it was a really great day. And then they had a dinner. There was over a couple of hundred people at the dinner then in Knockranny. So no, it's lovely for these events. It's lovely.
And you talk about the lineup of cars. The lineup of legends at it as well. The McHale family, Donna, Mark Higgins, John Lyons. Everywhere you looked, I would say there was a different.
In Conor McCluskey's Escort Cosworth, like in the Michelin colours, like and these are the proper, like these aren't like dickied up cars, like they're the real deal, like, and it was brilliant. It was brilliant to see the lineup of over 100 cars, the quality cars, like even Austin there using the Focus, like as I was saying on your podcast last week, it is the most successful Focus ever built, and to see that even driving around, the noise, the Focus, and that, and like, again, going back to it, like, I was just, I think I seen I obviously in 2017 I did Rally GB with Brendan Comiskey, and I did see the 2017 World Cars, but just to see that Fiesta the last morning, it is just the most beautiful car I'd ever seen.
And in your home county as well too. You didn't even have to get on a plane
or anything. It just
yeah.
Oh, it was brilliant. Like, we left here, and my little fella Ben was able to do it. I borrowed a car off Shane Quinn there, young Shane Quinn from Longford, his Clio 197. So it was perfect for the job. And we had a great day, and even showing him was a real fun way to learn about reading road books and stuff, because obviously with me doing Facebook Live, I'm not competing here. So the opportunity to learn the trade like I would have learned it is a bit different. But no, he did a great job on the road book now, and that was able to tick off all the junctions and, you know, catch up with all his little friends and stuff along the route. And it was just a great social day out, and no pressure and no time cards and no stress.
Excellent. And then, you know, looking forward to this weekend with the Harvest coming up here in Donegal. You said on, I think it was the last rally, that, you know, the stages are going to be epic. You reckon the drivers in for some treat this weekend?
Oh, brilliant. It's brilliant. You know, hats off. And you know what, before I did the notes, before I went up, I'd heard rumors at different rallies. Oh, I hear the Harvest is using rough stages. I hear they're car breakers, and nonsense. They're some of the best stages that I've ever seen. Like, they're real driver stages. You don't need a massive amount of power to get a good result in the Harvest. Like, there's so much driving. There's crests with corners after them. There's crests with corners on them. There's distances after the crest. There's jumps, but there absolutely no way of the car breakers. There would be that. I know a lot of that stage 1 and 2 pretty much is like a version of Port Lake that would have been used in over the years, but it's just split. There's a 4K stage, and then obviously it goes into the longer version of it. And even that, the third stage, they're all running down the way. It's a bit tricky now for Facebook Live because I can't get from the end of one to the other. So I think Jane Collins is on board at the end of the first one, and Andy's at the end of the third one. I'm doing the second one. But the third one then was used in the opposite direction a number of years ago in the Harvest. I can't remember what year it was. It was probably 6 or 7 years ago. I know Donna was doing double O in the Ascona.
Yep.
Yeah, so it goes between the ruins there. But honestly, the stages are just superb. And you know what? It mightn't be possible, but if you could run Donegal International even out on the Friday or one of the days on those stages,
Sunday or whatever kind of thing.
It really mixed it up. Like, logistically, it wouldn't be the easiest for sure. But you know, you could say, geez, a hell of a road section round for the end of the third one back to the start. And I actually recce them in order 1, 2, and 3, which is very unusual. Usually I do one stage at a time, but it doesn't make sense. But you know what? You're literally, when they start the first stage, they put on their helmet. They won't need to take it off till they get to the end of the third one. Those road sections are almost zero between the stages. So yes, there is a bit of a run around, but it's only, I think, a total recce about 25, 26K. So that's really the road section you're dealing with, which is nothing. I guarantee after doing the 3 stages, no one will be crying about the road section because
it'll just be mad to get back in again.
The first stage is 4K long, and I guarantee you there'll be even gaps between the cars in there because it's really, really short. There is a couple of fast sections in it, but the amount of driving and all this, there's no break. Like, you get to the third one, I was doing the notes, I was thinking, geez, will I ever get to the end of this? Like, because you're waiting to meet cars, obviously, you're doing it at road speed. It is a bit different than obviously rallying on it. But lads are going to be smiling from ear to ear, and the sweat's going to be rolling off them at the end of it. Like, it's one. I would say it's one of my favorite events so far this year that I've made notes on. I have to say, it's just super. It's proper driver stages. Anyone that doesn't enjoy them stages, maybe they should do circuit racing or something.
Well, that's
what rallying's about. Yes,
Yeah.
There is a number of chicanes in it, but there's chicanes in places where obviously if a car goes off, there'll be a lot of damage done to property and stuff. So there is a need for some chicanes, but they're definitely not needed. They're not excessive because just so many corners and so many places, so many traps. So guys are going to like, even co-drivers are going to have to be on their A game. Like, as you know, if you have a co-driver there that's gone too far ahead, like, you're not going to be able to keep where he's at, and then or she, and then if he's not far enough ahead, then you're going to have other problems. You're going to be shocked what comes up, but there's no break on driver or co-driver for the whole of the event. So to be honest, I'm really looking forward to doing the Facebook Live this weekend because there is going to be a race, and there is going to be it's going to be good battles throughout in all the classes.
Excellent. So that's something for us to look forward to this weekend. And then also last week, Adam Hall there from Rally Insight, very interesting article he wrote there about your plans for 2023. You've some exciting plans coming ahead?
Yeah, like there's a good few things obviously up in the air at the moment, but it is my plan. I mean, we've seen some of the best rallying this year in this country. Like it's just been fantastic. I know obviously from the footage we get from outside with Flying Finn and so on that, you know, the race and the, you know, even the clips we get sent in, like everyone's on the door handles. Obviously with the Facebook Live's great for the weekend, but then it's not, because then when you want to look back over it in 10 years, it's not going to be that simple, you know?
Yeah.
So it was sort of on my mind all year, probably from the start of the year. And I was involved in the Triton Championship coverage in 2020. We had a YouTube show, we had a launch back in 2020. We did the Mayo show that was with Flying Finn, Lee Kavanagh and Eamon and the crew. And sure, we had a great first event in Mayo, great 30-minute show on YouTube. It was branded, great flexibility for Brandon, you know. And then obviously COVID came and just lost his momentum. And to be fair, I know Eamon has a full-time job. Lee has a few jobs. So, you know, it's very hard for the lads to, you know, to commit to that. And the work they do is excellent with the time they have even. So to be honest with you, I've chatted to Eamon, I've chatted to Adam Hall obviously as well, with, you know, Adam's brilliant at writing scripts for, you know, along with his brilliant articles on Rally Insight. He's great at writing scripts for these shows. So I said, right, I have a good few of the ingredients together. I'm just talking to a couple of possible presenters at the minute, professional presenters, because, you know, I'm not a presenter. Like, I'm okay at doing stage ends, but pieces to cameras, forget it. So, you know, a proper presenter. Spoke to a number of people about doing editing. And the critical part is that we want something to look back and enjoy a few days after the event. It's a bit like your podcast, Kevin. You know, you're talking about something that happened the previous weekend in many cases, but it's still very, very enjoyable to hear the stories.
Yeah.
And often on Facebook Live, there's a different story happening outside of the live stream that you would love to tell that you can't tell, or footage that you would love to use but you can't use. And it was about putting sort of a hybrid model together. And then there was also people will say that to have cameras, and our Motorsport Ireland, you know, accredited media that go to events and cameras. I was thinking, well, maybe they'd like a few pounds extra for their fuel for contributing towards our show. And it's a bit like Clip of the Rally really exploded on us, like for a jacket. We get so many clips sent into us, and some of the clips have literally millions of views on them. And it's about getting even people out in the ditches. I mean, if you're getting the you know, really good footage, then the quality, I'm not saying the quality of the show won't be excellent, but you could, you know, screen share, you could split the screen with the action shot as well, or use the audio and stuff like that, even from the Facebook Live. You'll be able to take a lot of the interviews, the audio, maybe not the picture quality, but certainly the audio. And it's just a bit of a hybrid. I was thinking, right, I think this could work, and we have to have it out at the very latest the Friday after the event. But ideally, I suppose, reminiscing in old times, a bit of Deja Vu with the RPM was always on the Thursday night. And that was sort of, you know, a lot of people, a Thursday night's good for a lot of people because, you know, they don't have movie nights, or they don't have really any plans on a Thursday, and they're getting ready for the weekend or the Friday. So that was what I was thinking. So the plan is coming nicely together. I've spoke with the National Championship and the Forestry Championship. Now, there's been absolutely nothing confirmed. I suppose I've expressed my interest in doing it. It's sort of, I'm trying to subsidize it because, you know, clubs everything's getting so expensive. Adding in all these chicanes, adding in all these extra things, all these safety features, they all cost money. I know from running Mayo stages, I've been involved in running Mayo this year. The cost is crazy, and for the turnover clubs make with the entry fees, the profit is very, very small. It's a fine line, like. So I was thinking, I need to come in with a subsidized model. So that was my plan as well, to come in for a price that's really, really competitive. That actually there is opportunity for other advertisers to come on board, you know, and get there. Say for Facebook Live, I had switched to solar on this year for all the national rounds. But like, I had loads of sponsors nearly for every event wanting to come on board. And then I was thinking, well, if they want to come on board in some way, well then, you know, this YouTube show and get their branding. And remember, YouTube is a lot more flexible than TV. And again, this, like, I was often thinking, I see people's comments with TV, and I was actually going to put up an Instagram last week and take a picture of my TV and then put a rally program up on it, because like, I won't say everyone has smart TVs, but TV is TV. It's YouTube, it's Netflix,
it's changed. It's not the 5 channels or whatever we had originally.
Exactly. And the beauty about the YouTube thing is, like, if I'm going on a plane this evening out to the UK, I can download that program. And when I go onto airplane mode, I can put on my headphones and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
So whereas I don't know how to get it off the players, I've never actually downloaded something off a TV player. But our exposure around the world will actually be greater on YouTube because people will share it in different regions.
Yeah.
Anybody with YouTube, any country that's YouTube actually has better access. They don't have to set a time on their watch of this program. If they don't watch it, then they've missed the program.
It's
So
not Thursday night
once
at
it's
10
there,
past 11
it's
or
all
whatever.
there.
It's whenever you want to watch it.
Watch it whenever you want.
Yeah.
If you're waiting on a ferry, waiting on a boat, waiting on a train, going to work, whatever the case may be. And it wasn't like, it's not that I'm saying that Mick and On the Limit crew weren't able to do it. Because I know Mick obviously was in Donegal this year. And the Monday after Donegal, I said, you know what? I was driving home from Donegal on Sunday evening. I said, you know what? I've been thinking about this YouTube idea for a long, long time, for most of the year, or maybe even during COVID, it came into my head. And I was thinking, Mick could be the man to get involved with because he has so much knowledge, he has so much expertise in 20 years. Yes, there's things that I would like to do different than he does. And he might be interested in coming on board. He has great camera people involved with him, the whole lot. But I rang Mick the Monday after Donegal, but no, not particularly interested. And he's going a different direction, and that's fine. It's probably ran its course anyway. So, as I said, I was interested in getting Mick, but he's obviously, he's back in the music scene now, and it's good. So yeah, I suppose it'll be a new thing, and I am hoping obviously that the National Championship, the Triton and the Forestry Championship come on board, because I'd love to, as I say, go through all these famous races we've had all year, like and it's not just the races in the top 5. There's races in all classes, and the guys in all the classes, as Andy stands out in all the events, they're as important not to us, they're as important to the people that are watching them, that are interested in only seeing them. As the top 5 are to anybody else. So
like the historic championship in the historic Tarmac championship this year was phenomenal. Like every rally, it was like, scraping over seconds going into the final round. I think there was 4 or 5 guys who could still win the championship, and like that got missed because there was no coverage.
And I know that they do feel hard done by. Obviously, I listen to you every week, and in some regards, and it's not just the historics now. I would say that.
Oh, absolutely not. That's an example.
The other thing is, and I always notice, I chat to Andy on the way home, and I often say, "Gee, Andy, if you weren't there, I'm not sure who'd be there for them." And this is both the historics and the juniors. The junior comes in, he's running at the back of the field, the future of the sport. Yes, nearly everyone's packing up, and good luck to the juniors. There's no razzmatazz, and it's as important to have a bottle of champagne for the juniors or historic winners as the person that wins the rally, because they've equally put it all on the line. They're probably spending, in relative terms to their income, multiples. So, they need equal amount of love. And I think the whole thing needs a bit of a look at. And I'm sure it is. I know Declan Tumulty has a remit this year that he has a number of things. And I've spoke to him, say, just chit-chat, because I get on very well with Declan, and he's a real progressive fella. He's obviously been involved in the Triton for years, but he's interested in mixing it up and listening to new ideas and try to, spread the love over the classes. And if a guy has a lead going into the last stage, is only leading by 2 seconds. Well, we need to show this. We need to show this person, because they're leaving it all on the line, and we don't want to miss it, because then the guy will say, only outside of his circle, no one really knew who he was racing or what. So why don't we try to make, I won't say stars, but make more of a deal of everybody that's having a race and all the classes, that there's a bit of action and a bit of news happening. And hopefully, the edit time is very short. But the first event ultimately will be the hardest. Like I think it'd be the forestry. But if this is all hypothetical, of course. Crossed. And I suppose going back to it, I have been naming the hat for the Tarmac Championship as well. But to be honest, for 2023, the problem is I don't want to bite off more than I can chew as well.
You want to walk before you can run, basically, don't you?
I'm away to the UK. I'm away to the UK this evening. I'm not back till Tuesday, so that Tuesday night late, I won't be home till probably 2 a.m. here, and then Wednesday, and then Michelle, my wife's nurse, so she goes to work Wednesday, and she doesn't get home till Thursday. So, I need to restructure things a bit here and get things working a bit easier before taking on the Tarmac, because the Tarmac is a different animal, because it's 2 days and a lot more time away. And so I would like to, I suppose, say I'd be really interested in doing 2024. And it's not that I'm using the Triton, if I get it, and the Forestry as a guinea pig, but it's far more manageable, even people-wise and work-wise. And I'd rather nail that and come up and be able to use loads of ideas. Like, there's even stuff like that, I suppose, your podcast has really showcased is you've really shown who the people are, Kevin, and their characters outside of the rally suits or outside of Park Firm interview or the End of State interview. You've put a face to the character. And that was the thing as well, is that, like, years ago, we were only talking before we went on air, like, if you've seen Austin McHale in a shop when you were like 20, 30 years ago, like, you would have dropped, you would have been in awe of this. But like these guys as well, your Kevin Eveses, your Gary Kiernans, your Ryan Loughran's, like, the rally people know what they look like, but then the new fan might know what they look like. So, it's nice to put a face to these people. And the thing about it is, I'd love to visit these guys in the workplace as well, that we can use throughout the year, the footage throughout the year. And you see even Niall Maguire, one of the biggest trucking enterprises in Ireland or maybe even in Europe. And like, wouldn't it be great to just spend a day with him and in his normal workwear and talk about his business, and we'd be able to mix it into one of the shows, because we have the flexibility with YouTube. We're not tied to 30 minutes. Ideally, the sweet spot would be 30 minutes, but if it's 32 minutes or 35 minutes, I don't think it's not going to be just for the sake of it.
No.
So there's lots of people I'd like to spend time with and do a bit of a backstory on them, like a 2-minute thing to show who they are. Like, Niall's, Donna Kelly, Eamon Kelly, what does Eamon work at during the week? Listen, I spent time on a ferry back from the Cambrian last year with him. We're chatting the whole way back, like, real smart young fella and just really interesting guy. And what does he do, or what does Donna, what's Donna's normal week? Like, who knows? Who knows? Like, we see this great businessman, but wouldn't it be great to spend, or
half an hour with him, like, just getting the behind the scenes story,
feel like of who he is. And it's endless the amount of people you could spend time. And that's why I was hoping sort of that the earlier the better this is tied up, that my quiet time is December and January to go and interview these people and get the footage that we can use it throughout the year. And I think it just give it a different dimension. But I suppose that's the plus in YouTube. You're not tied to time. You're not tied to I won't say camera quality, because the camera quality now, even on a phone, to be honest, on 4D, is as good as cameras were 10 years ago. So there's no issue there. I'm not concerned about quality. But even the likes of advertising, we can run advertising ourselves in the middle of the show, and it's not going to be poisoned with ad breaks or anything, far from it. But these smaller advertising slots will be used to subsidise it to the clubs and so on, that that it makes it cost effective, that between the championships and the club, it's no big burden on them. So yeah, look, there's lots up in the air. There's lots of people since Adam did the article, obviously, in Rally Insight last week, there's lots of people that have been in touch, and yeah, it's really positive. And as I said, I'm looking forward to, hopefully, if I can get it across the line and do the best job we can with it, with the best people involved, and I'm sure we can.
Killian, can't say fairer than that. So if anybody wants to get in touch, drop you a message on Facebook, I suppose, or whatever.
Facebook or Instagram or any of the social media channels, or even my numbers on the pacenote.ie on my website as well. So yeah, or even, to be honest with you, the rallies now, often I'm nearly cut people short of the rallies, because usually I'm against the clock, even in Park Firm and so on, with interviews. If you do or forwarding clips of the rally or doing updates, and there's lots to do in between the stages. So, but yeah, if someone drops me a message, a few people have dropped me a message, and I said, listen, I'll be in touch the first week in November, which is only a month's time, because I just want to get this next month. We're very busy in the UK with notes, and doing the Carlisle stages tomorrow. So I just want to get that sort of done, and then I can really focus sort of 7 or 8 weeks on the YouTube show. That's all I'm going to do, and get it all together.
Kevin, it's lovely to hear Killian's enthusiasm for covering this sport and promoting it, and again, excited to hear the plans and all the things that are happening in the background for next year.
Yeah, for sure. And no better man for, it's not talk, he will make it happen, I'm sure, as well. There's no doubt about it. And also great to hear, his enthusiasm for these stages, and this weekend upcoming, the Harvest Rally. Like, to hear him the way he's talking about them stages, that's going to be a huge, task for the drivers and the co-drivers as well too. Like, it's going to be 3 tough stages, but 3 epic stages. Like, that sounds phenomenal. What an entry to have there. That's a great entry for a round of the national, and so late in the season. We always kind of think at this stage of the year things start to tail off a wee bit, but Jesus, that top 20 would be a good international field. Any other rally. That's brilliant to see, isn't it?
Absolutely. Listen, decent field. We're up in the northwest at Gorda Herc direction,
Mhm.
of gorgeous parts of Donegal. And yet, you couldn't get any more northwest, and the crews are making their way, and great set of crews as well that are going to be taking part, and fantastic to see number one seed Callum Devine out.
Yeah, and I caught up with Callum a wee bit earlier there, and just the first question I asked Callum was, is it good to have a rally to look forward to this weekend?
Aye, good to have a rally to look forward to again. It's probably long enough. We break there since Cork 20 for us, and aye, it's aye, I'm looking forward to Donegal Harvest now. I always love rallying on Donegal. The stages are always great, so yeah, it's definitely what we're looking forward to.
Yeah, and like this is, this could be the three in the row. That would be a nice wee thing to have in your CV as well.
Aye, that'd be nice to be honest. Aye, especially three in a row, and the first harvest now was our first proper one in 2019, so it was, and that was after a good year in the Irish Tarmac Championship and our step into R5, and yeah, the harvest end of the year proved to be the one for us to get our first one. So yeah, look, it was a good one last year too as well with Deck and Boys. So yeah, it'd be nice now, but it won't be easy.
Yeah. And that's the thing with the Donegal Harvest. The way it moves around different regions, you're not going back to familiar stages. It's new every time. That's nice wee touch as well. It's not just come back over the same territory year in, year out.
Yeah, definitely. No, I do. I think it's a good job that they do that too. It's like you get a lot of locals too from around that area. Like getting to do their event. Like I remember the first time it was in Muff, so it was, and then sure it was down in Donegal Town, and it's well moved about now, so it is. But look, it's nice to get the stages as well, which is something different. It's good.
And then, with this rally this weekend, there's no pressure. There's no championship points to be, you're not driving with a championship in mind. That obviously brings a different mode, is it? Like, do you relax a wee bit more then? You can let your driving do the talking almost. That's what I'm trying to say, I think.
I think so. I think you're right. We'll probably, as I say, we're just going there really. Hopefully that's what we're planning. A good recce, and I'm working on the car now. We've done a few changes to the car now, going back to more Donegal setup. That moving away from what we did in Cork. We did some changes in Cork, so we're moving back, and look, we're looking forward to it. Getting at the stages, and as you say, it's just pretty much driving and getting to feel the car again, and yeah, and hopefully when it all clicks, we'll just go as hard as we can too.
And then you talk about you love driving and all. Like we've seen Sam and Josh there taking out the Starlet. Would that be something that you would like to get your teeth into at some point, like getting out in a rear wheel drive car?
Okay, it's I would definitely enjoy it. I know that, but I think if I was going into a rear wheel drive, it would be more for the crack. That sort of being competitive. I've been more on for the big slides and stuff, which I think them two boys have been doing too, which is it's good to see them moving across. But we've actually I've been out in the buggy there, a wee bit of a break there. One of the guys that helps me with the rally car, one Mullen and stuff, he's a buggy, and we went out in that day, and to be honest, I really enjoyed it. Kevin, I think they're a great piece of kit and great value for the day's crack, and yeah. I think that really probably it was rear wheel drive, so it kind of maybe give me a wee thought on it too. But,
yeah. And it's a nice way of keeping match fit too, away from the weekend rallying too. That you're getting a bit of driving, you're getting a few miles in. You're using all the same muscles, I suppose, really.
Yeah, exactly, and it's like things are coming at you fast in them buggies. Like it just definitely it keeps your eye on there for the speed, and as well, like you're always doing wee setup changes to the buggies too, which is good. And hey, they're great fun, and as you say, like you can put them into the trailer and pull them out and put them back in the trailer, and away you go. Like they're a great thing now for keeping match fit, and they seem to be a popular thing now getting as well. So
yeah, for sure. And like, do you still get the same buzz every time you pull on the helmet and the gloves at the start of a stage? Is there no feeling like it still?
I think the rallying's hard to top now. I think I don't get me wrong. I love most motorsports, and I love the thrill of the speed, and everything. But I think there's nothing better really than you going down a road and with your navigator to call the notes and the bumps and crests and all the elements you have to do down the stages. There's no real thrill like it, when everything goes well, So no, we still get the buzz. So I love it now.
Yeah, and like 2022 has been, a good year for you. You started off in Galway, and you showed the speed, and then a few like mechanical issues in, but the speed has been there all year. That has to give you really good heart going into 2023.
The speed's been good. Hey, the speed has been good all since the start of the year, and and we had some issues and problems, and some of our own mistakes too that happened through the year probably put us out of contention in the championship there. But like as you say, the speed's been good, and it's been strong all from most of the front runners in the Tarmac Championship, which is good. So it's been good. So it has, and the speed hasn't went back anyway, I would say. So looking forward into next year now, we'll see what it brings,
Yeah, and like being involved in such a competitive championship, like and being up there and fighting for those tenths of a second, and like we've seen there you've matching times and stages. I still can't get my head around that. You can drive like 12, 13 kilometers and not even be separated by a tenth of a second. Like, does that drive you on to make you want to come back next year and be involved again?
It does. It definitely does. To be fair, like I remember even like Killarney, like myself and Alistair going up Balls Gap, and like I think the second time around everybody wanted to be as fast as possible, and that's what it was. And like, I think me and him were at the same point of a second, which was crazy. Like, and we absolutely drove our socks off, and I'm sure he did too. And like it followed into Donegal too, and Matt Edwards was over. Like it, once we got a jump at the start, but then it just after that day, after the first morning service, it was points of seconds the whole rally, and it's a great buzz, and it keeps you so sharp, and it keeps you so driven all the rally, and like that's what you want. Like that's what I always want to go out rallying. I always want to compete against the best and see how far I am or how close I can get or whatever. That's just the way it is. But it's a good buzz, and going back to Tarmac next year maybe. I wouldn't mind it now.
Great to hear there from Callum as always. So I like the top 10. You have Sam there in the WRC Fiesta. How will that go in comparison to the R5s? If Donegal was anything to go by, the R5s have the beating of them. But then, Sam has a bit more time behind the wheel now as well. Robert Barrable, Declan Boyle, will they come in the Polo or will they be there in the Fiesta? Gareth McHale, after Galway, you're not going to discount him. Seamus Leonard, the list goes on there, Conor.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget Aaron McLaughlin as well, out in the WRC Fiesta.
Yeah. And Eamon Kelly and Michael Boyle, two guys that showed very well in Donegal as well, I think especially Eamon there had a great run on the Sunday in Donegal, so he'll be coming in there with his tail up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Tim McNulty getting a bit more mileage under his belt too. Out in the Polo, can't be that far away either if he gets a clean run.
Yeah, and like 3 stages, and we talked about the stages, how good they are. And then Kevin Gallagher back out again in the Darien, his first time out again since Donegal. Like he's going to have to be, I'm sure, going to be the man to beat there in the modified as well. But you have Kevin Eves, all them guys will all be looking to fight for the honour of winning the modified harvest as well.
Absolutely. Oh, look, as we say, and we have said many times before, with the competitions out of the minute, with the quality and the level of competitors and competition at the moment through all the categories, it really is. It's a fantastic time to be following rallying, and that modified battle is going to be as good as the battle for first.
Absolutely. And then Kevin McLaughlin, we spoke to him earlier in the year after Donegal, like out in a Hyundai R5. He has a small team around him there that has pulled out all the stops to get him into this car for his home event. That's it has to be worth a mention too. Like that's a great opportunity there for him as well too. So it's going to be a cracker of a weekend. And then I suppose now it's something a wee bit different. I caught up with Eamon Mimnagh, who was at the Harvest Rally last year, just outside Donegal town. And it's almost a year to the day. It was earlier this week. Eamon was at the service area on the Sunday morning before the cars left. He was walking across the road. I'll let Eamon take up the story from here. It's a very interesting story.
No, it was a day to remember that thank God I'm here to remember it. We headed off in the morning as normal. and the way we operate, whoever's furthest away the race. So we headed down to Donegal, and we had to go to the service area to get meet Gordon Noble and Paul Barr to get the maps to where we were going. Caught about, and coming near the time, we decided to head off to the cars. And I just walked out across the main Killybegs to Donegal Town Road, and I fell dead on the road, basically. As the luck had, there was a lady from Fawcett's, started the CPR. Her and her husband was watching me fall. So she started the CPR, and within 200 metres, the Red Cross was sitting, the Irish Red Cross was sitting down the road, which one of my friends run, and alerted them. Plus the guards was there. Everybody that I could think of was needed was there. So as the saying is, my time wasn't up. They worked with me, and after a few minutes, we come round on the road. To my knowing that I was dead for up to 6 minutes.
Eamon, there's no such thing as a good time to have a heart attack, but you were definitely in the right place at the right time.
Certainly, because if not, today I would not be telling the story. I was such as luck that the dental nurse seen me fall, and as they proceeded to do the CPR, one of the fellas lifted his head up, and he seen the ambulance was down at the shop, which they never be at a service area. It's always at the start of the stage. So that was another bonus ball wherever, as the girl said, they never. And they talked about going down the road to the rally. God, we're going to have a boring day today, sitting at the service area. So she says, let me know that was the first time they ever had to do this big a job.
Yeah. And like for you, like, what do you know what happened? Was it the pumping system for your heart, or was it or what was it?
Well, let's say we'll go back. The heart, your heart's in two divides. One is they call it your electrics, the other is the plumbing. But my plumbing was perfect. It was my electric stopped. So with the good luck that they had the defibrillator with them, and they were going to give me the jump start to get me going. There's no other way you could describe it.
No.
I think it was quite a long time. The boys reckoned that one fella definitely said it was up in 6 minutes from you'd have fell on the road till they got me going, which was a big thing.
Yes.
And the fact that somebody started the CPR was my bonus. It probably kept the air flowing to your brain, So when they come around on the road, it was sort of a miracle, I suppose, that they did, and didn't know where I was and what happened, and started to, as you would, get all emotional and all. And by that time, then they were putting me on the stretcher, the Irish Red Cross, but they were waiting for the Letterkenny services of the county ambulance to come to pick me up. So when they come and they got me transferred down from one to the other, and they made such a real good job of me, to be honest. No hurt, no nothing, and as comfortable as I could be. And off we went to Letterkenny, and met the loveliest assistants of all the nurses and doctors, and couldn't done enough because I hit my head a while bang the road.
Oh, right, yes.
And they were sort of feared of that as well. So we went for a scan. So as to my knowing, we were to be transferred to Derry, would be our hospital at that time, but they couldn't fit the criteria. So the doctor said, I can get you to Galway, he says, and I would prefer, he says, it's a fine place for your problem. So 2.5 hours later, I was sitting in Galway Hospital. And story, which they said I was worked on so gently. They couldn't, for what I come through, they said that the amount of people who would come in with broken ribs and all different parts of your body, that whoever were at me knew what they were doing. So I can't thank the people of Donegal workers, ambulance, yards, no matter who was there that day, you couldn't thank people enough.
Right.
So on a wee thanks, we're going to have a GoFund for the Irish Red Cross, which we have a site set up now for it.
Brilliant.
People has already started to contribute to it. So on Friday, Saturday, I'm going to the rally, which I'm having flyers with me, and I'll have the whole details on it for who to give it to, or
Yes, where to donate the such.
Yeah. Just everybody doesn't do Facebook, so
No.
It's nice to. But no matter what sport you're on today, should it be horse riding, motorcycle, football, anything, them people are needed. Everywhere.
Yeah, and they're there giving their time, and like they never in a million years think they're going to be needed in a case like yours. But it just shows how vital that service is that they provide.
Totally. They left Monaghan that morning at 6 o'clock to drive to Donegal to think that they were saved somebody's life. They in their mind that they were, as I said, the laugh was going down the road. God, we're going to have a born day. So at this stage, they have kept another body on earth with their help.
Yeah, and like as you, that's lovely. Now that you're hoping now to give something back to the Irish Red Cross, as you say, you wouldn't be here today telling this story if it hadn't been for them.
Definitely not, Kevin. There's not a chance. If I had been sitting at home and the wife go upstairs and come down again, you're sitting dead in the chair, and you wouldn't be one bit the wiser by that it was a heart attack.
Yeah, and like if you'd have been at home, you wouldn't have had somebody there with you as quick. You wouldn't have had that 6 minutes. You'd have been still there. You wouldn't have had somebody doing CPR. You wouldn't have had an ambulance. You would have had nothing there in that 6 minutes.
Definitely not. One of my friends has got a double time. I've done the CPR twice. The course.
Yeah.
And he said he couldn't even lift my head to put it on his knee.
Right.
That he just was so shocked. What happened, and he said like it takes a strong person to do what them people does.
Yeah,
and sometimes people would turn up their face at them much. Do you imagine leave Monaghan at 6 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah,
the one they get the girl was from Newbliss, so which is another 40 minutes. So they're up half the night to come to do something for nothing. And the ambulance only charges £250 for the day.
Yes,
and they get nothing. So maybe some motor clubs would feed them there, maybe, or if they're lucky.
But they're there for the very basic, only covering their costs really, and nothing else really.
That's the cost of the machine, not the
people. Yeah.
So before the Monaghan rally, I the morning of it, I went up and met them outside the house of Michael's house. And he couldn't believe it that I kept in touch with them all, plus the paramedic from he was from down outside Slegler, Ballymote.
Yes.
So like a bunch of lovely people. They could not ask for better.
Absolutely. And we'll get the details of that GoFundMe page and we'll share it along with us here as well too. So Eamon, to wrap it up, I'll share the link for the GoFundMe page. And you'll be at the rally on Saturday, so if anybody wants to come over, I'm sure you'll have a bucket or whatever with you that people can donate on the day. Yeah,
well, I intend to go to driver's briefing with a wee flyers and that, and elsewhere we'll be around. We're staying down on the Saturday evening, so we'll be at the prize giving or whatever.
Yes,
and I'll swear every penny I get, the Red Cross will get it. So.
Well,
that's for sure.
Eamon, I think this is such a lovely story. It shows, the great side of rallying, that that community circled around you, got you back and you're back on your feet. And I would say you're thankful to be back in such good form again yourself.
9 days later, I was fixed and back on the road, back at my work. So, it's amazing what the hospitals, the technology today is. I don't know how words describe it. Just.
Second to none, I suppose, isn't it? And you had the right people at the right time working on you.
Well, I'm maybe fixed better than many's man out there because I've now got a defibrillator and built in my chest. So if and I do know it's working because I got a wee bit of a bang. And let me tell you, you wouldn't want it every day because it'll soon waking you up.
Lovely words there by Eamon. What can we say? We never realise how vital the paramedics is to have a rally until we need them. So if you can donate, please, if you can. We'll put the link in the comments below, wherever you're watching this or listening to it. So that would be greatly appreciated. As we read it in the final edits to the podcast this week, the news broke about Paul Nagle retiring. A bit of a shock, Connor.
Yeah, a bit out of the blue, all right. But I was surprised to see that this morning. I thought if it was going to happen, it might have happened, before the start of next year. But there was an interview with Paul, and the reason for that is they wanted to give the replacement co-driver a chance to settle in with Craig before the next year of the WRC starts.
Yeah, and I suppose in some ways that is, it's a good idea because Monty's done enough without heading in there with a new co-driver and all. It'll give the new guy a wee bit of time to bed in, and they'll be testing obviously over the winter and one thing and another. Paul is going to stand as one of the true greats of Irish motorsport. 5 World Championship ones with Chris Meek, 19 times in the podium. Winning the IRC title with Chris back in 2009, I think it was, a tarmac title. And he always claimed one of his great things that he always mentions anyway whenever he's been interviewed, that he's won Killarney and Killarney Historics too, so that's a nice double there for him. And the range of drivers he's sat with over the years, it's like a who's who of Irish rallying and beyond.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, like everybody from Kieran O'Neill, Eugene Donnelly, Gary Jennings, it's just been incredible. And even broader, he's broader than Ireland. He sat with Guy Wilkes, he sat with Gwyndaf Evans. And then, we've been used to seeing Paul on the world stage for 18 years now. It's absolutely crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's a nice, I suppose, circle. It's square in the circle almost. He's finishing on the same event he started. That's a nice touch as well.
Absolutely, yeah. His first appearance on WRC event was 2004 Catalonia, and that's the rally he's chosen to be his last World Championship event. And coincidentally enough, I noticed when I was going through this morning that I actually was at the 2004 event, so I must start looking through the old photographs and see what I can dig up of Paul.
In them 18 years, he has travelled the world. He has been at the top. The story of him and Meek alone, there's a book in there, never mind anything else. It's a fascinating career he's had, and closer to home, he has some great runs. And Andreas Mikkelsen too, he sat with him for a few events too. We can, what can we say? Totally understand why he's doing it. He's got young kid, a young family at home there. Like that time, you never get back, and it's for him, I suppose he's been there, done that, and it's just time to take a wee step back.
Absolutely, he's more than done his time. There's not too many people you can count 18 years worth or more or less 18 years worth of WRC appearances. I certainly know from as a spectator point of view, watching the in-cars, I'll miss Paul's dulcet tones on the notes.
That's for sure. That is for sure. So, well, that's episode 33, or no, sorry, 34, I should say. So please like, share, comment, all those things, as we always say, are gratefully appreciated. So until the next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.